everybody, Lisa here, Queen of BravoCon, and welcome to the Queen of BravoCon podcast. I'm Lisa Hendrickson, your hostess, and today we have Jamie Faquette. I love saying your name. Now I know how to say it. Jamie Faquette, who is the administrator with me at the Facebook BravoCon group. And this week we have a member of the group who wants to share some BravoCon stories with us because that's part of our theme is a rotation of different things for y'all. And Nikki Dempsey is with us and has a few fun stories. And of course, it'll be chatter about BravoCon. And then at the end, we'll tell a little truth story about something that happened there last year. Welcome, Nikki.
Hey, thank you so much, so much. It's so nice to be here. And Lisa, I have to tell you, so 2 years ago, my bestie Krista, who's going to be joining us here shortly, and my oldest daughter Sophie, we decided to go to BravoCon, and we were so
Okay.
excited. And we stumbled across your website or your Facebook page, and it was absolutely invaluable. I'm telling you, like we could not have navigated BravoCon without you. And it was so perfect for us as first timers. And we got a chance to meet you. I've got some pictures with you. We met you on the last day and we'd been kind of watching out for you. So it was fantastic. So
Oh,
I
it's
have
great
to
to
give a
hear.
shout out to that because if you've been to BravoCon several times or you've never been, definitely need to be on Lisa's Facebook page to get all the
Oh,
details.
thanks. Yeah, we got really lucky with this group organically growing and it became the information center. It
Yeah,
it was it's invaluable to a lot of people and me too because we have all these little FBI agents out there telling us things, coming to the group saying, "Hey, I heard this," and then we
yep.
kind of try to figure it out because things change, especially last year with Formula One. We had all these,
Oh yeah.
news things happening. So it's so exciting. Like the 5 months before BravoCon, it's just wild.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
when you're not, if you can't go to BravoCon, I couldn't go to BravoCon last time.
Mm.
It's like you're there because you're just like feeding off of everyone's
Yes.
excitement and like the group is like blowing up because everyone's posting everything. So it's like I mean, the FOMO is so real, but
Yeah.
it's so fun. Like, oh my gosh, how fun. Like,
Crazy.
so it's
Yeah.
just as great for people who can't go.
Yeah. We
It
try to
is.
give it that offline experience too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it was so great to leading up to BravoCon, having all of that information. But once we got there, checking in with the Facebook page several times a day, just anything little from finding out, you know, what celebrity was in their booth in the kind of the market bazaar room. I don't know officially what they call it, but where they all have their different booths. Someone would say, "Oh, I just saw Madison. She's in her booth," and everybody would rush there and
I
just
know.
the energy is so fun and everybody was so nice. I mean, everybody was so nice. Yeah, it
Those
was,
live updates were just amazing. And
yeah,
it's hard for me to follow the group because I'm there, but
yeah,
and I have, group stuff to do while I'm there. But for someone who's not, you can refresh your feed and it's just constant, it's never ending. So you got to be on it,
yeah.
on that totally. But it is so
But
much
that
fun.
was really helpful. Yeah, because the other thing I recommend is we use the BravoCon app, right? So
Yep.
that you were able to see all of the different this would be going on in this room, this would be going on in this room. And we literally had no idea what to expect,
Yeah.
right? And so that main room, gosh, it's probably the size of a football field easily.
Yeah.
That main room, and then there are all the different like smaller rooms. And so it was really helpful to be able to plan out, okay, 9 a.m. we're going to be in this room. Then at this time we want to go see, you know, Summer House or whatever it is. And then you were
Yeah.
able to really plan your track out that way. So that was
Yep.
the other thing that we found really helpful.
The
But
app
we
is nice.
it is. It's really nice. And it was interesting how I guess they must have some sort of, demographics or data on, if you like a certain show, you tend to like other similar shows. And so I'm a big Real Housewives fan, Southern Charm, Summer House. And it was interesting that those sort of, you could attend all of those together, right? And then I felt like if you were maybe more of a below deck fan, they had those mapped out so that those fans could stay on that track. So it was really nice because you didn't feel like you had to choose between
Right.
two similar shows, maybe if that makes sense. So
Competing or whatever.
Mhm.
yeah,
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 there's so much going on. The app is very invaluable. And so with what you're saying, this navigational stuff, a little
Yeah.
pitch for the book is last year I was talking to a member of the group and they were like, I wish there was a book about this on how to do it all. And I was like, I'm writing that book, you know? So anyway, A to Z kind of, you have to prepare for BravoCon. It is like going to the Super Bowl for some people, but bigger because you got 17 million things to do at BravoCon. So you got to figure out the path to getting all these tickets. So my book outlines it perfectly in order of what they've done in the past. I can't say they're going to do it the same, but they tend to follow a theme. So at
Mhm.
this point, prep for it, get your budget, do this, do that. Here's when the app comes out. Here's when this comes out. So people know there's a plan.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful for those that don't know, because
Yeah.
you're just thinking on your head, how does it go? At least if you know a little bit, when you get there, it's still a surprise. And but I tell you how the forum works in the big bazaar room and everything going on there. So we all got to experience it for the first time, but it's going to be there again. I think they're going to do it for a couple more years there too after that, after next
Yeah,
year.
I think I heard that too. And it's sort of like I think about like when my kids were little, right?
Yeah.
And we would take them to Disney World. And there was so much information out there and books and everything that you really had to read because you wanted to make it the best experience
Right.
for your kids and for your family to go to Disney World. When do we do the princess breakfast? When do we do this? So
Yeah.
so for the people out there that have done something like that, that's exactly what your book is going to be. I mean, it's going to be that guide for that. And you really need it because you don't want to get there and feel like, oh, I wish I had done something different,
Yeah.
Right.
or I wish I had known this beforehand. And for us, the only thing that I really feel like that we will do VIP this time. Hopefully, if we get our hands on those tickets, but that's the only thing I wish we had done differently.
Right.
And honestly, not so much because of the lines, like to get into we got great seats. We were in
Yeah.
every show we wanted to be in, every breakout we wanted to be in. But the kind of the behind the scenes where you could go and see the celebrities in separate rooms, that's why I think the VIP would definitely
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The only thing I think that is kind of separate about that is the VIP lounge. That's where they go. The year
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking
before,
about. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah. Now you want to talk behind the black curtain. That's different. That's a whole book on itself. Behind the
All
black curtain
right.
at BravoCon is where all the fun stuff probably is going on. But
Yep.
I did get behind the black curtain in 22, but not in 23. And I said this in my book. I did it once by accident, kind of, but I felt very uncomfortable because I was sitting there with Captain Glenn and two other Bravo Levs, and they were just shooting the shit. And I was like, "Ooh, this feels really uncomfortable for me." Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was in their space, and it wasn't like fun like in 22 where it was a madhouse of everybody.
Right.
It really felt like I was invading. So I put that in the book. Don't go behind the black curtain. It's really not for us.
Yeah.
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 They need their
But
space too. They need that
yeah,
space to
they did. And just be
unwind and
themselves, you know.
yeah.
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 So that's one thing. But the VIP lounge is I have a feeling that they're going to do something different next year with that, but maybe something else. I don't know. I'm just kind of getting the feels in my heart that they
They
know that
tend to
they,
always step it up every
yeah,
like they do something
yeah,
bigger. They do
yeah,
significantly add something. So
yeah.
I'm
Well, the VIP tickets are going to be like Willy Wonka gold tickets this year. It's going to be very
Oh,
hard to get.
yeah.
So if you get them, grab them. And
Hmm.
I have a whole section, of course, in the book on how to get tickets the best way safely.
Yep.
But
yeah.
you actually said, Nikki, you had to go through StubHub, right? How was that experience?
I honestly I can't remember if it was StubHub, it might have been Vivid Seats, but we did, once we found out, oh, it was sold out, we were in the pre-sale and it sold out, and it's like trying to get tickets to your, Taylor Swift or something, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's so difficult. So we did go to a third party provider. And it was actually pretty seamless. I will say I was
nice.
kind of sweating it a little bit to make sure that we got our wristbands before we flew
Yeah,
from Colorado to Vegas. But they showed up probably a couple of days before.
nice.
So I'm sure that person was waiting, so we knew we had guarantees by using the third party provider, but their guarantee is if they don't show up, you get your money back. Well, that's horrible. Like we want to be
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
I know.
But at least, we felt like we had some protection there. And I think because we hopped on it pretty quickly,
Yeah,
we did pay more than face value, but it wasn't insane. So
Third party
that's
ticket price.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure. So
We only had
and
one
we
person that I know of, sorry, that had the people had sold the bad tickets, so they did give them their money back because it was a guarantee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they reached out to me and I helped them get tickets because I kind of felt for them, but that's not something I'm to do all the time. But it just they totally, were already
Yeah.
planning on going, had all their tickets and everything bought for flights.
And
It's
it's,
really
yeah, it's
sad.
a risk with the money you put out for flights, for the hotel. Like it's still, like it's, yeah,
Yeah,
you get your ticket money back, but sometimes you can't get the flight or the hotel back. So,
yeah. That was sad.
I mean, it is. It's so sad, but it is good. I know that I've seen on your
Yeah.
Facebook page that you're going to be doing some things to try to
Yeah.
help connect people, and make sure it's legitimate. And I'll definitely be looking at that as well. So,
Oh,
uh,
good.
so yeah, but we
Well,
did this. So we did the 3 day pass, which was awesome. And then we did do one night for the Andy Cohen show over at the
okay,
Paris Theater.
nice.
Because it was Summer House and Southern Charm, the Southern House, that
Oh
mashup
yeah,
that they did. So
yeah.
that was the best night. So we were really excited to get tickets for that. And that was incredible. So
that's cool. I didn't get
yeah.
to go to all of them. I went to the Bravos. That was on
Okay.
Friday night. That was like the big kickoff one.
The awards and yeah,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
yeah.
That must have been fun.
Really fun show. I kind of recommend if you want to kind of experience that, try to go on Friday night because every Bravo Live is there.
Yeah.
It's a show. And it's kind of fun because they're filming too. So you kind of get to see the behind the scenes of filming and all that stuff. So it's a little fun experience. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
And the
Yeah.
energy's high because everyone's all amped up for the weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
We
Friday
felt
was
the
the
same
first day.
way about the Watch What Happens Live. It was really interesting to see, of course we couldn't have our phones. It was really, really serious. And so, it'd be really serious when they were taking a break. And then all of a sudden, Andy would be on again. And you kind of see that kind of, behind the scenes. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great
He's
show.
good on stage and on,
Yeah.
like on the shows, but he has good stage rapport, like, during downtimes and stuff. So you can tell it.
Yeah.
He's a pro with that stuff.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
so what other stories do you have about BravoCon you want to share with us? Because everybody has stories of
So
something.
yeah, so we have some stories. I mean, we had some really good interactions with a lot of the Bravo celebrities. I mean, I will say that they were very gracious in the bazaar we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, where they had their
Mhm.
different booths. I mean, my daughter has just, huge fan of Kyle Cook of Summer House. And I mean, the lines can be long, but I will say it's long because they are really taking the time to talk to
Yeah.
everybody. And
Yeah.
he's my daughter's merch. He talked to her for a while. I mean, he just could not have been more gracious. So there were
Yeah.
great experiences like that. So they were, just very open and excited to be there and excited to interact with the fans. And so we
Yeah.
felt like, again, we didn't have the VIP lounge, but we felt like in the bazaar, those different booths, that was a great place to
Yeah.
connect with celebrities and get to say hi to them. And again, they were just very, very gracious. So we
That's what
had a
I
lot
love
of fun.
about Kyle is he's a pain to wait for, but
Yeah.
he's great to meet because he really does just talk your ear off. Like he just is so genuine and like appreciative. And I think that just makes it so much more meaningful too. And, after I met him for the first time, I was like, okay, this is why the line was not moving. Like, and
Yeah.
it's like worth it to meet with
Yeah.
the Bravo Labs that are going to take the time and get to know you and speak with you. And it's not just, okay, picture, bye. And I think BravoCon is a lot like that with all of the Bravo Labs.
Yeah. Carl was the same way. We met him at a different session. Again, could not have been more gracious, more welcoming with the
Oh,
fans. This might be a controversial pick, but Taylor Ann was also awesome. And
Mm.
she's kind of a part of the story that I'll tell here in a little bit, but she was amazing as well. So
oh,
there, we saw, you see things on there on the Facebook group, people that either have positive or negative
yeah.
interaction
Hmm.
with the different celebrities, but for the most part, our experience was really positive.
Oh,
So
that's great.
Good.
yeah,
What I find is, like when you go up to meet one in a photo op or, so a stage thing, maybe,
yeah,
I really kind of feel like they probably have done that 3,000 times that weekend. So I've even mentioned it in the book. keep your conversation short because it's not a deep conversation time. It's for you to say what you want. Usually it's like, I love your dog, or I love this, or I appreciate you. Those are the kind gestures they love hearing.
Yeah.
Um, but to have a conversation where you get to know them, it's really hard at those moments. But then you can get the side moments where if you can catch one when they're being themselves, doing something real, like I had with Shane.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of feel more connected. Like when you get those few minutes where they're not on a stage, and it's hard to get those times with them. But if you
Yeah.
get one, it's so worth it because then you kind of, that's why I love the show because they're all on stage to me. I want to
Yep.
Yeah.
connect with one just in a friendly way. And, I mean, I met all of them at BravoCon I did, but Shane is one that I kept contact with. So, I mean, that's kind of real to me, and
Right.
I just really like the guy. So that's what I got out of it. Yeah. But I also
So,
connected with JT last year in 2023, but I don't feel like I'd be connecting this year
oh,
if he went.
it doesn't
He's
look like he's
different.
going to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably
I
Yeah,
don't
he's not
think
gonna
he'll
be
be
there,
there.
but different guy now. So I was like, I don't think he's on my number one list.
Yeah. No.
yeah,
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
having a tough season. And I saw last night's episode, and
Yeah.
kind of you're
yeah,
seeing how it's unfolding. I mean, we all know the information we got preseason, but it's just interesting to kind of see it unfold. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it is. It's like, what happened to JT?
yeah,
yeah. And it's almost like he's trying to like fabricate stuff, like bring the drama, right? Like where it's like a nice moment and like let me say
Yeah.
this and like to add
yeah,
to the show, right? And like he's thinking about staying on the show and not staying friends, right? And being
yeah,
with
Right.
the group. So I think that's where he's really getting mixed up in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, last night's episode for sure. Oh my gosh. I mean, on one hand, you can sort of see what he's saying, that, hey, I think he used the analogy, if I had a friend who was on heroin or whatever, I wouldn't say, oh, good for you. I would
Right.
be telling him they need to stop that. But it's kind of an extreme example with Taylor
Yes.
Ann. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think his heart's in the right place. Those guys 2 step forward, 1 step back, right? Um,
Mhm.
so,
And that's
so
what I thought too. I was like, man, he handled the Craig thing so well. They went fishing like together,
yeah,
like he was doing so good. And they're there. And as soon as he's like, I'm gonna tell you something you're not gonna like, I was like, oh, here we go.
There we
Like
go
he's
yeah,
again.
I know, I
I
know.
roll.
yeah,
Well, I told Jamie in pre-show, I said, I think that they don't really like hanging out with him anymore. So
Yeah,
he's struggling to be in the friend group because it seems like there's four sets of friends going on and none of them hang out
yeah,
outside of the show. So I'm like, he's like the oddball that's like, I don't fit in any of them. And even him and Vanita broke up like
yeah,
prior to it. So I was like, it's just kind of like this weird group of friends that don't really hang out. So that's what I'm taking from this season. But
yeah.
back to BravoCon, was kind of hoping to see JT, but I was like, I don't think he's going to be there this year. So we had so much fun though when we met. We had a little real connection for a while.
yeah,
Yeah, it was fun. He wasn't taking pictures. We were just talking with him and Rod, and but that's done.
yeah,
So what other stories you have to tell? Tell me. I think the word is TMI instead of
yeah.
tell me. Instead of too much information, it's tell me immediately. That's the new thing.
So
TMI.
yeah, we did have one experience that was interesting in BravoCon. So we're all huge Southern Charm fans, as I said
Yeah.
earlier. So through the Facebook page, we had seen that they were staying at Mandalay Bay. And so earlier in the day, just to back up a little bit, so there was a side show. I think it was called Bosom Buddies, and they had best friends on the stage, right? So it was Shep and Craig, and then Paige, and now I'm blanking on her name. Oh,
Sierra.
Sierra, sorry. And then two gals from Married to Medicine that I didn't know. And so we're like, oh, yes, we're going to this show, right? So we get in line. Again, we weren't VIP, but we got in, got great seats. And one little tip, if somebody feels like they know they want to ask a question, definitely sit on the end and kind of be keeping an eye out for the people that are working the show, because towards the end, when they say,
Good
hey, we're going
tip.
to open it up for questions,
Mhm.
they will pop over with a mic stand, right? So
Right.
just totally unbeknownst to me. Had no
Yeah,
idea.
that's a good tip.
And I
It
happened to be
is.
sitting on second row on the edge, and they said questions, and I'm kind of looking at my friends, and all of a sudden they plop a microphone stand right next to me. Well, I
Yeah.
just jump up. I have no idea what I'm going to say,
Yep.
no idea what I'm going to ask, but just like I have to take advantage of this, right? So I'm like still talking to my daughter and saying, "What should I ask? What should I ask?" So I had asked a question to Shep because I was a huge, huge Shep fan. So I directed my question to Shep. He was great. He was warm. He was gracious, answering the question. And so I mean, that was like the highlight, right, for me
Yeah.
at BravoCon. So super excited. So we had found out they were staying at Mandalay Bay. And so we decided we booked dinner reservations at Mandalay Bay that night and decided, you know what, we're just going to hang out. We're just going to have our dinner. We're going to hang out in the casino. Wouldn't it be great if we ran into, any of the cast from Southern Charm? So that's what we do. We're there, we're gambling, and I see Shep walk by. Two gals were following him. And I was like, oh, I look at my daughter. I'm like, okay, this is my chance, right? He was heading over to the, like we all do, right? Frequently in
Yep.
Vegas. So I'm following over there, and I'm standing there, and the two girls are telling me, and I say girls because they were young, but they were just saying, "Hey, no, don't talk to him. He doesn't want to talk to anybody." And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous." All
Right.
right, so I was like, "Okay, I appreciate the heads up, but I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna at least say hi. I'm
Yeah.
taking a shot here." And so my daughter's standing there, like, with their camera ready and all this good stuff. And so he turns around and I just said, of course, hey, I'm a huge fan. I had the honor of asking you a question today at BravoCon. You were so great.
Oh,
And, just we've all heard the stories, right, since it's come
yeah.
out that he had a rough time at BravoCon and wasn't his best self. And he was definitely he just was angry, right? I mean, he was just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I hate this. I hate that. Like
Mm.
really, really angry. And I just said to him, it wasn't my best moment either. And I just said to him, I said, look, you would be nothing without the fans. I mean, the fans make this whole thing. They make BravoCon, they make the ratings for your show. You'd
Yeah.
be nothing without the fans. Well, then he kind of went into a tirade. Won't repeat everything. And so of course I start yelling and owning my part. And I just kept saying, "You're nothing without the fans. You're nothing without the fans."
Oh, so you were clapping back at him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wasn't taking it. I
It
was
was
like,
like you were on Southern Charm.
it was my audition. It was my
Yes.
audition. And of course my daughter is mortified, right? She's like, "Mom,
Oh,
mom,
yeah.
stop, stop, stop." And so I look over, and my bestie that was there, she happened to be talking to Taylor Ann, who's just off to the side. And my friend is looking like, why is Nikki yelling? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
yelling at each other in the casino. And so then my friend's like, come over here. My daughter's pulling me away. So we go over and we're with Taylor Ann. And again, like I said earlier, she couldn't have been nicer. She was very apologetic. It should not be her place to apologize for him and his behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she did, and she, was just like, he's not himself. He's all of that. So then we stood there and we hung out with Taylor Ann for a while. I mean, she was amazing. My grandbaby is a miniature Frenchie like hers, and so
Oh,
her and my daughter bonded over sharing pictures of their Frenchies, and so it was a great interaction with her. So the night goes on, we have a great rest of the night. It's Vegas, so we're all getting a little crazy. And, but I was still just really fired up about this interaction. I was like, this
right.
is like my favorite,
Oh,
Bravo celebrity. Like, how could he be like that? Like, is that the way he is in real life? And,
yeah.
kind of a funny story. So we go back to the hotel and we're all just hanging out, and, we're going through the Facebook page, right? Seeing updates. And I there must have been so many people that saw that interaction because it was kind of blowing up in the Facebook group, and I was like, oh my gosh. And somebody said, oh my gosh, I saw Shep fighting with this old lady in a casino, and I was like, I didn't know if I was more mortified that I was called out for fighting with Shep or if I was called an old lady. So
Right. Which one's worse?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It was horrible. So anyway, so that was kind of our story. And, but I have to say now, I have seen, and again, we were at Watch What Happens Live with Southern Charm and Summer House. And, he's publicly acknowledged that he was pretty out of it as well at that show. And so I think, though, that, obviously there's redemption and forgiveness. And what I really like about everything that's happened from that is that, he really did own it. So it really made me feel like, as a fan that was a part of that interaction, that wasn't him. That wasn't his best self. And we all have those moments. I mean, I will say in that moment, I wasn't my best self, right? I mean, who do I think I am yelling at someone?
Well,
So,
did you have some cocktails too?
maybe,
So
huh?
that kind of fuels it. In my opinion, when there's some kind of drama, and I've had a few drinks, it seems to get
Yeah.
fueled with
Yeah.
somebody else having drinks, and then you're on
Yeah.
this equal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not,
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
you were fired up, but you also probably didn't know the extent of how bad he was, and because you were right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it was too bad, but I mean, he's owned it. He had,
Yeah.
Yeah.
had some struggles there at BravoCon, and I have every confidence that he is going to be better than ever
Yeah.
at BravoCon, and I'm loving him this season. I'm
Yeah.
back as a fan, and yeah, it's all good. But I was a little embarrassed that I know from the post I was not the only interaction that he had with fans, but I was one of them.
We
So
had a lot. And that's what I was like, let's hear a true story because, well, those are true in the group, but we didn't hear the whole story and everything. But we saw him in Miami.
Yeah.
mm,
We didn't get any time with him to talk real talk. It was just he had a mic with Madison or with Kate Chastain, and they were doing interviews. And
Yeah.
yeah, I literally got a second, but I was like, hey, do you want to ride my scooter again? That was my question.
yeah,
They asked, "Do you have a question for Shep or a question?" That's what I asked, and that was my one question. So,
I
but
love it.
he's on stage. I try to remember there's stage people, and then when they're just doing their real life stuff. So, um,
Yeah.
he
He
was
was
good in Miami.
great. He was sorry,
Good.
my dog.
Oh, it's okay. Is that Bailey?
I'll make
Who? Oh, she's got
um
something.
no, but he was great in Miami.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
phenomenal. He was at one point was on the in the outside area
yeah,
and was just walking around like hugging people, saying hi to everyone. And like
Yeah.
he's in a really good space. And I was so happy to see that, hearing what happened last BravoCon. And it's nice to see that redemption. And at the end of the day, they're human and they're people. And you
Yeah.
know,
yeah,
when you own it and take accountability and work through it, that's all we could ask for.
for sure.
And
So
in
that
his
was,
defense, I got to tell you that I'm sorry, Nikki. In his defense, a lot of times when I'm seeing them at BravoCon, the Bravo Labs, I'm like, when they go home, their life ain't like this. They can go to the grocery store. They're just normal people. They can fly and 10, 20 people on the flight. A lot of people aren't going to recognize them and they can just be normal. Then Shep is probably getting some social. I'm not going to try to therapy this, but it's different when you're on stage for 5 days solid. He flew in, saw people. And from me being the owner of the group, I get that with the members who see me. And
yeah,
so I feel it it's not anything like a Bravo Lab, but I get spotted in the elevator, out every door I go, in the bathrooms.
yeah,
And it's the same thing. So I experience it on a small level. So I get it. Like there's sometimes you just want to take a break and you're like, I'm just gonna go have a cigarette and do what I want to do. And then I go out and I see someone again. So I'm like, well, it's just a party for 5 days. That's how it is.
yeah,
And I think Shep just hadn't realized maybe that's what it's really like. 5 days on stage, man.
Oh yeah, when we were walking in Miami, like she's like, "Oh, come with we were going to get the Bravo BFF thing." And I was like, "Oh, I'll be back in like 5 minutes." Like 20 minutes later, because we like, and it wasn't that far of a walk like at all, but it was every like second it was, oh Lisa, which like is so cool to see, but it can be like, overwhelming. And I think too, it's also that sometimes like I think they're so used to that they could just go out like where they're living and it's nothing, and they forget that it's like, oh, I just worked a whole day because that is work. And now I'm going out
Yeah.
here where all the fans are around, like,
Work.
so now I'm gonna still have to be on, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to work tomorrow. So it's like they need to kind of, practice that self-care of like, am I at my limit today? Or like, should I go like 30 minutes somewhere else so I'm not
Yeah.
bumping
It's
into
hard.
people?
I mean,
Yeah.
they really fly in on Wednesday or Thursday and fly home Monday usually. So it's like 4 or 5 days of solid, you're spotted everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he was probably just sad, but I always look back at that and I tried to see like we have a lot of things that happened at BravoCon that a lot of people have stories, Nikki.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories and some are really good and some are, but it's a live event for 3 days, 5 days, whatever. And we're gonna have those, and no one's perfect. I had two
Gosh.
episodes myself last year that I wasn't proud of.
Yeah. Oh gosh. No, absolutely. That's why I absolutely take accountability for my
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
Well,
I'm
and I
sure you're
think
not
too,
the only one that's
well,
ever
and I think
yelled.
too, yeah, we were, he was there, he was with Taylor Ann, like, and looking back on it too, and that was, if I remember the timing right, I mean, I know they were broken up, but that's complicated, right? I mean, that was a very complicated breakup, and I'm sure it was really hard for them to
yeah.
be working together, right? Which is, as you said, what BravoCon is. It's work for them to still be, your work colleague you just recently broken up with, and so yeah,
They had
so
Yeah.
just broken up
and then
before that. I don't know if I knew that.
yeah, they were broken up because I remember it being kind of a there was another posting where he had gotten Taylor Ann's brother's boots. Taylor Ann's mom gave Shep the boots at BravoCon from her brother,
Um,
and which I thought was really a sweet and touching moment. But there was a lot of comments on that, like,
Mm.
what is the mom trying to get them back together, and all this stuff. So there was some backlash from that, but yeah, they had recently broken up before.
okay.
Yeah. So that was just not
Wow.
a good
It was
mix for
raw.
him.
I think
Yeah.
it was raw. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure
So
Is he the
everyone was
one,
saying stuff to him too.
yeah. So yeah,
the
it
brother,
was.
the one
But
that passed away?
yeah, Taylor's brother. But yeah, he had all that
Yeah.
was happened, right? I mean, it was. I'm trying to remember the timing of it, but I feel like BravoCon might have been just after the reunion, and so they had broken up. Um, obviously Taylor Ann was having a lot of issues with people in the group because of the issue with
Mhm.
Austin, and I mean, it was pretty explosive, and that's kind of the fun thing, if you will,
Yeah.
about BravoCon, is because the stories are evolving, right? I
Right.
think about this year, all that's happened with the Salt Lake City franchise, for example. I mean,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I think somebody said to me, "Oh, there's Heather," and I was like, "Who?" I mean, I hadn't really caught on to the show,
Right.
and now they are going to be mobbed. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they're going to be one of
Oh
the
yeah.
highlights of BravoCon this year. So
Yeah.
the shows evolve, the people evolve, the relationships evolve, the issues evolve, and yeah, so it was, I again giving him a
Right.
pass on kind of what he was going through. I think
Yeah.
that was a pretty rough time for a
Well,
lot of people.
guess who else had a bad time on TV one year? That'd be Mr. Craig. He had quite a rough reunion
Oh,
one year,
my
and he
husband.
redeemed himself.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, well, I still remember that reunion show going, that's wild.
yeah, yeah.
It
That one was
broke
that was.
Jamie's little heart.
Yeah.
So
Well, they
we
all come
made it
back around.
through.
Yeah.
Our marriage
Well,
made it through.
I made it.
well, and of course, too. I mean, at that time, the finale hadn't come out, but the news had come out that when we were at BravoCon, that was right around Scandival. So that
Oh,
was all
yes.
of that came out.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch too at
Yeah.
BravoCon.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a Vanderpump Rules fan since the beginning, and it was hard, Tom just showed up on stage and the crowd just went crazy. I mean,
Jeez.
people have had, if they'd had rotten fruit and tomatoes and stuff, they would have been throwing them. I mean,
Right.
I felt really bad for them. And you could see, this is where, back to your point, Jamie, I mean, this is their real lives, and they choose to invite all of us in, and they entertain us, and they have these great stories. But at the end of the day, I mean, these are their lives, and I could just see Tom was so broken
Yeah.
at BravoCon, and
Yeah.
it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Everyone was so pro Ariana at that point. It was brand new news. We hadn't even seen the finale, right? Nobody actually
Yeah.
knew what right on
Yeah.
the show. It had just come out in the news. I think like
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it must feel like, even having to like walk into that, like, and knowing that, like, okay. I mean, it's one thing to read the comments on like socials, but to like be in person and have people like saying it to your
Right.
face. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it was so bad. He couldn't even talk. Like if the microphone was handed to him, like
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, I'm sure you guys saw it and experienced it. I mean, it was really too bad.
He
So
found his voice though.
yeah, he
well, he
did.
did.
Because we went to LA and you know what? We went to his bar and he did not know we were coming. And Schwartz saw us first, and Schwartz, I'm sure, did not tell him. But Schwartz is such a showman, you know. You come into his bar
Mhm.
and he like everybody was getting selfies and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And then Tom showed up and Karen comes up to me and she's like, Sandoval just showed up. I was like, you're kidding me. He did not know we were coming because I know he didn't. And he spent so much time with us, took all the pictures. Well, he partied with us,
Yeah.
literally. And even at the end, when I left, he came out and said goodbye to me in the van. I
Oh,
mean, and it was just a unique experience. And I was never team Ariana. I was team whatever. Because
mhm.
to me, it's just a TV show drama. Even though it went into real life, I was like, I run the group. I can't take sides. And plus, I didn't want to take sides because I don't know all the stories sometimes. So
Yeah.
I really have been a fan of his for a long time. So I chose to. Nobody talked about the drama at our event in LA. It
Yeah.
was like we didn't care. We just
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Which is
So
nice. Yeah.
we got the one last party at Sandy and Schwartz with our group, and I was really happy we did that. You
Yeah.
guys
Oh, well,
loved
That
good.
was
That's
great
awesome.
timing.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome. I need to
But
hang out with you girls more.
yeah, well, we
Going
got
all the
another
fun
trip.
places.
We're going to New York in May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be a big girls trip. We're trying to figure out a lot of things to do as a group that we can do, because there's a lot of little things like go to the Regency, go see Sonia's house, go to Craig's restaurant, and I'm gonna do my book launch
Nice.
at that time. It's like an official get together party for the book. So
You
So
put
got
it
to
in the
fun.
put all
group.
the details on Facebook.
I will.
Yes,
And
we come
I
cheer
might go
you
to
on.
Carl's bar too. Soft
Yeah.
bar.
The soft
Okay.
Yeah.
bar. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things some girls also reminded me to do. I forgot, but yeah, we're gonna try to make it a 2 or 3 day weekend and just do some girl stuff because there's another 6 months to go till BravoCon, so we got to do a trip.
Yes. You
Yep.
We
fill
have
it
to
in.
keep tripping, so
Right.
yeah. All right, Nikki, if you don't have anything else, well, I'm sure you could talk for hours about BravoCon because certainly we could.
It was amazing. It just was the whole experience was
I
awesome. I
know.
encourage everybody to go. And I will tell you, we kind of said, oh, because it's not a cheap trip. You mentioned
Yeah.
budget. You gotta budget. It's not cheap. And as we were kind of spending all this money beforehand for tickets and everything, we were literally saying, you know what, we'll never do this again. So let's just go all out and let's have a blast.
Right.
And
Yep.
I mean, we were there one day and we're like, how we got to start saving for next year, right?
Yep.
Well, I have
So
budgeting
yeah,
in my book.
Yep.
yeah,
The budget for me was 6,600 last year, but I had a lot of extras.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Like because I needed medical equipment and extra cabs that weren't needed. I put a little budget thing in there of what to expect. Prices will go up next year, so be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
They go up every year, so I'm telling people you can't complain about the price because they're going to add on. Bravo's going to
Yeah.
make it worth it, I
They make it
think.
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many options of tickets you can buy too. If you want to be budget friendly, you could buy one VIP one day, two
Mm-hmm.
GAs for the rest, have one day of enjoying the VIP lounge. I mean, it's a rotational thing the whole time. It
Yep.
never is the same. So, and it's not unique like it was in 2022. It was very not unique, intimate. It was very intimate in 2022.
Mm.
It's in New
23,
York, right?
yeah, New York.
Yeah.
It was a
Yep.
way small room. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
take one roll in my scooter and it was like it was really quick. This
Yeah.
VIP lounge was a bigger one, like
Yeah.
full lap. Yeah, it was big. But
I
there's
think they're
plenty of
anticipating
there.
more people. More because what I heard maybe around 30,000 were there in 2023.
I think 2023 had 25 or 27,000,
Hmm.
but we kind of guessed with all the extra people, uh, media, production, security, camera people, all the staff, that was probably an extra couple thousand people right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot to put the show on. So
Hmm.
maybe 30 total.
Yeah.
And in New York was 22 was that was about the same actually.
Mm.
19 only had 10,000.
Yeah. 19 was
Yeah.
super small.
Yeah, that was different for a different one.
Yeah.
It is what runs so well though. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you'll see a long line and your heart will start to panic and then it just moves, right? I
Yep.
mean,
Oh, they're
Yeah.
phenomenal at that. They're just
so well
amazing,
run.
moving you along. And you always get a good picture. And you get like 20.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like you get one blurry one and it's move on. Yeah, they're phenomenal with that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So no, it was so real well run. Cannot wait for this
Oh,
year.
it's going to be such a big year this year, Nikki. Let me
Yep.
tell you, when they put the pause on last year, I
Oh,
wasn't surprised. And 23 was such a crazy year for me with all the scammers and ticket stuff going on that I was exhausted before I even got there.
yeah.
I was just, I've told Jamie and the other, people in the group, I'd wake up to 50 messages.
Yeah.
No kidding. And then I would field through them and try to reply to everybody because I have that kind of heart where I felt bad, but I was so exhausted that I was like, now I got to enjoy this event. But that started 5 months before. So it's
Oh,
pretty crazy for those 5 months. It's a fury of what's next, what's next, what's next. There's always something coming up, going on, rescheduling, this and that. That
Hmm.
it's not the Super Bowl. It's
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But in the end, at the end, we're all exhausted. We had a good time, and then and then next year, I wrote a book already, so I don't have to write another one.
Yep.
yes.
This is what I did that whole break in the pause. That's why I was glad there was a pause.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
worked out perfectly.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I think we're all kind of ready. And then there's
Version
also,
2 after this year.
Yeah.
Give us
well,
update all your tips.
yes, I'll have version two. I actually wanted to write a book for Bravo Labs on how to prepare for BravoCon as a cute little book, but I don't know how to get it to them. But because I just know that there's these newbies that are coming that have no idea
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
what to do.
I love that idea.
They're
I
all
love
newbies, so we get to, and I'm connected to a few of these newbies now. So I'm like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, but for our
He's a
group anyway,
master class of BravoCon with all the newbies.
yes.
that's
It'd be
funny.
like new employee orientation, right?
Yeah.
They show up half a day early to BravoCon
Yeah.
and they get new employee orientation by Lisa. That would be perfect.
Master
That's exciting.
class. I should make a meme like that for my
Oh my
Instas and
gosh.
TikTok.
Yes.
Master class. That's beautiful, Jamie. Oh my God. I'll have my hands like perfect.
Okay,
Master.
that's my weekly brain baby. You don't get any more out of me.
I only get one good idea a week from Jamie.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, so this year we got the trip in New York and then we got BravoCon and then I think we're gonna start working on in addition things and cruises are gonna be on the list. A lot of people have wanted to do Bravo themed cruises, and so there's a company that's working on that. So I will, of course, be involved if I
Yeah.
can to
I
make sure.
saw one. I
Yeah,
saw one online
yeah,
that recently came out. But no, that would be amazing.
I
I'm a
know.
huge music fan, and that's such a great way to connect with the
Yeah,
musicians as well, or the cruises that they have.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
I think it would be absolutely amazing. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think planned the Bravo themed cruises could be I don't know if more than one a year for me would be good, but I'm I'm down in Florida now, so it's not that big of a deal to get over to Fort Lauderdale or Miami,
Yeah.
Oh,
but
you're in
yeah, so
Florida now. Oh, good.
yeah,
Oh,
well,
good
I
for
have a
you. I
house
love
in
that.
Minnesota still, and I got a house down here for for when I want to swim. That's what I call it.
Perfect. Oh, I love it. I love it. Hey, my bestie just walked in. Can she say hi real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Krista. I want to make sure she hears me. She's
She
talking to
finally catches us at the end
I
here.
know, at the very end. She can just say hi. Hey, Krista. Come here. Do you want to say hi?
She's now
All
she's
right,
shy.
just say hi. You don't have to get on camera. Just say hi. She
That's
just
cute.
got Botox and she doesn't want to go on camera.
Is she like this? Hey, I can't. Hi.
Oh gosh, that's too funny. All right, well, Lisa
Hi.
and Jamie, you guys were an absolute delight.
Oh,
I loved
fun
this.
Thank
show.
Loved
you.
this. Yes.
Thanks for being our first member on. That's so exciting.
Yeah. Anytime, anytime. So
Oh, great
yeah.
stories, Nikki.
Yeah.
So, maybe Nikki will have you on for a recap show later this summer after all the fun is starting, and we can do some more tips
Yes.
for members and stuff. Just little things.
Yeah.
I love your
Oh,
tip
for
about
sure.
sitting on the side.
Yes, that's phenomenal.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
it
to
happened by accident, but yeah, because those
Oh,
lines can get long. When they put those mics out,
yeah.
boom, everyone jumps up. So
Yep.
I'm going to put that. I'm gonna put that in my notes here to make it one of my tips for my TikTok people. Tips
Yeah.
for getting questions. Oh
Mhm.
man, I'm gonna wait till February, end of February, to start doing my socials, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook about tips for everybody, free. But of course, I want people to buy the book, which by the way, you can get on Amazon. 72 hours unscripted. That's my book. But
nice.
you can ebook or paperback. But yeah, it's
Best book ever for BravoCon.
I
what's
love
that?
the title.
The best book ever to prep for BravoCon.
Yeah,
ChatGPT wrote me the title, by the way.
love
Wow.
it.
I asked it to write me a title about BravoCon, give a little detail, and it gave me it, and I was like, perfect.
Yep.
Loved
Oh
it.
my gosh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, thank you, Nikki, for
Yeah,
coming
have
on.
me
We will
back
bring you back.
anytime. Have me back anytime. So
We'll
I
bring you
love
back for fun right beforehand because we're going to be doing a lot more shows maybe that point too.
Yeah.
We'll see.
it. Yeah. No, this is a
All
great.
right. All right. Well, see you this fall. I'm going to close
Okay,
the
for
show.
sure.
Bye,
All
Nikki.
right,
Well,
thank
everybody, see
you.
you in the Facebook group. If you're seeing this off of any other channels, just go to Facebook and search BravoCon. We're the group of 23,000 members. Jamie and I are the admins, and we got 3 other mods. So thanks, folks. See you next time.
Yes. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.